Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be giving y'all my final thoughts on update 9. I didn't want to make this video super early because I actually wanted to play all parts of the update, every part of it, you know, the PvE side and PvP side. And one thing I will say is, for the PvP part, I'm just going to make a completely separate video. There's so much I want to talk about PvP that if I put it all in one video, PvE and PvP, this video would be way too long. So I'm just going to make them separate. For this video, I'm only going to be talking about PvE. Mainly, I'm going to be talking about Impel Down and Transylvania because those are the two biggest parts of the update. I'm also going to talk about a little bit about the races, but that's mainly for PvP, but I'm also going to talk about them for PvP just for a little bit. So to start off, let's start off for Impel Down. Impel Down is by far the best part of the update, like easily, regardless, like PvE and PvP, it's really just the best part of the update. The way it's structured, the way that you go through it, the way that, you know, difficulties are set up, everything about it is just amazing. Like, let's start with like the way it's set up, you know, looting up, going to floor. I think this is what dungeons should have been initially. Like, when I first thought of dungeons, this is how I thought it would be, not like, you know, sitting in a room and just like being boxed in. I thought it would be like, you know, different rooms you would go into, fight bosses, fight NPCs. I do kind of like the fact that it's structured as well. Like, it's not like completely and utterly random. Like depending on what difficulty it is, it's more random. Obviously, if you're on nightmare, the bosses are randomly spawning. But like for normal and hard, I like the fact that, you know, the bosses are stagnant. Like, they're going to spawn there no matter what. I like that fact. Like, it gets you prepared. Like, you know what you need before you go into certain rooms and so on and so forth. Also, like the looting system, I think it's, you know, just great overall. I don't like the fact that you're limited to only 4 weapons and 4 pieces of gear. I don't really like that. I don't understand why that's even there for PvE. It makes sense in BR, but I don't think it even makes sense here. So, well, actually, now I think about it, it does make sense for multi-group, so people can't just like hoard all the loot. So never mind, I take that back. It actually does make sense. Solo-wise, obviously it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense for the group. And then finally, you know, the final boss in general, amazing final boss. Great final boss. Obviously, it's just, you know, the venom fruit and the whip on an NPC, but like still, it's a great boss. It's a hard boss, especially on nightmare. It's a pretty like difficult boss. You actually kind of got to pay attention if you're actually fighting them, which I'll get into, you know, the cheese methods and all that later on. But overall, Impel Down, like as a mode and what it is for what it is, content wise, is really good. It's really well developed. Oh, also the shop is incredible as well. Fact that you can purchase, you know, you're not just mindlessly farming one boss to get, you know, an item. You're farming like an entire subsection, and then you get to choose what loot you want. Even though it's random, when it comes to gear, you're pretty much gonna get what you want most of the time. The only thing that's like really random is legendary chest, which I need to get into later as well. But like overall, like the farming wise, the way it's structured, all that, amazing update. I hope it continues, you know, fleshes it out later on. Now onwards to Transylvania. Transylvania is more of like a traditional GPO update, you know, like bosses, farm boss, get drops, do it again over and over again. Honestly, Transylvania is probably one of the worst parts of the update, like no joke, besides the true ball boss. Like the true ball boss is amazing. Definitely one of the best bosses designed for GPO, but like the way you get the stuff, like the items themselves in Transylvania, is extremely annoying. Like everything about it is annoying. Getting the zombie parts and the ghost, you know, spirits, super annoying. The fact that they're like that spread out, like they're not even like kind of close together, like they're really spread out, and you need to get 20 of each. You need 20 zombie arms, 20 zombie legs, and 20 spirits. What I don't understand about Transylvania is that the spirits have 100% drop rate, right? If you kill a ghost, you're gonna get a spirit, but if you kill the zombies, it's random on whether you'll get a zombie leg or a zombie arm. You might not get anything at all, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why is one part 100%, the other part is kind of like, what is it, maybe 80% drop rate, 70%? Like, it's still pretty high, but like it's not 100%, which I don't understand. And then secondly, you know, fighting bosses, it's still very annoying, the fact that you have to fight, like, you know, just constantly fight the same boss over and over again just to try to get a drop. You know, it's fine, it's cool like the first couple times, but like after a while, you're just like, why am I like can I get something, like anything at all? Like, I've gotten one drop. I farmed a boss for like 2 hours straight and I got one drop. Now, I'm not saying that the drop should just be handed to you for free. Like, you should have to put in some work for it. But the fact that I got one singular drop, and I think there's 3 things total, so I know it's not that bad, but like, it's still ridiculous. Like, the fact that you have to sit there and just do the mindless grinding like we've been doing for the past couple updates. So that's why I think, like, Impel Down, of course, is definitely like a way better, update wise, like way better content wise. Just complete breath of fresh air compared to everything we've been getting. Like, overall, Impel Down is just a better mode. The only problem I have, or one of the few problems I have with Impel Down, is the Nightmare Plus. I don't think you should have to do a normal run of Impel Down every single time in order to do Nightmare Plus. It doesn't really make sense to me. I feel like it should be a permanent mode after you do Impel Down, like a certain amount of time. Like, you can just go on Nightmare Plus whenever you want. But that's just my thing. Like, it doesn't have to be. Like, Nightmare is perfectly fine for me. Like, I don't really do Nightmare Plus that often, mainly because I have to do a regular run first, but it's not too much of a problem. And finally, the races. Like, the races are cool. Like, Duhan's a really cool race. Like, especially, the Skeleton Army, of course, in PvE. Like, it's a completely different way to play PvE. Like, you really don't do anything, you just let them do your thing. Like, it's like a summoner class in a way. And Vampire is really not that interesting to me, like, for PvE wise. PvP, it's a pretty cool class. Like, it's actually really good in PvP, but PvE wise, like, I don't care about Vampire at all. Like, not even a little bit. Like, I would take Fishman over Vampire, like, any day of the week. Like, I genuinely do not care about Vampire. That's really, like, the end of my, like, positive part of update 9. Now I'm going to get into, like, the problems I have with update 9, and it's a problem that GPO has had for a really long time, and that's really, there's nothing to go after in PvE. Like, there's nothing to chase after besides fruits. And as someone who's, played this game for I think like a year and a half now, I do not care about the fruits in this game. Like, ever since I started playing the game, like, there was one fruit I wanted, which is Mara. I got it, and I did not care about anything else after that. Like, there was nothing for me to do after that, after I got the fruit I wanted. Like, sure, you can get gear, but what good is the gear if it's not really even that useful? Like, especially since after I got that Mara, right? And like update 6, I switched to Pika on my, like, alt account, right? And I haven't switched off Pika yet. My alt account is basically my main account because of that. Like, I have zero incentive or zero reason to switch off Pika. Like, you cannot give me a solid reason to switch off of Pika other than you're bored of it. That's literally the only reason you can give me. It's like, I'm tired of using Pika this whole time, which is understandable because it's been the best grinding fruit in the game since, I'm pretty sure, since release. Like, it hasn't changed. Like, sure, you can switch it up. You can use Mochi, you can use Yuki, you can use Venom, you can use all these things, but like, at the end of the day, you can always go back to using Pika sitting on top of a building or something and spamming Light Ray. And then on top of that, right, he introduces Cyborg. So now you can just sit on a building, use Missile Shower, use Light Ray, Missile Shower, Light Ray, just switch on and off, on and off. And I'm glad that Impel Down, like, counteracts this, of course, which is why I think why Nightmare Plus isn't just easily available, because that's what people would just do. They would just sit on the ledges and spam Pika and Cyborg. But they're going to do that anyway. They've been doing that. They're doing that with Tori. They're doing that with Mara, and they're doing it with Horo. Like, they're not going to interact with the game if the game has things in the way where they don't have to. They don't have to interact with the boss, so they don't have to interact with the game. Like, there's just things in the game where you just don't have to fight for it. You don't have to work for it. You just sit there and do nothing. And this is a big problem with PvE. Like, there's nothing to go after. And even when he does introduce things like that may be better than others, or not better, but like maybe more interesting than other things, there's no reason to go after it because the current things in the game are just the top options already. Like, there's really nothing he can introduce that would be better than Pika. There's literally, like, basically nothing. Venom is, like, slightly better for some situations, but overall Pika is still a better fruit. There's nothing he can do to beat Cyborg in PvE. There's really nothing he can do. Like, it's literally just Pika on a race. There's nothing you can do to make me interested in the gear of the game. Like look. In Impel Down, you can get Shiryu's cape or something like that. I had Law's cape on, right? Someone told me that Shiryu's cape is better. Shiryu's cape is better by like 1 stat point. Like, it's barely anything. Like, it's so minuscule. Like if someone has Law's cape or Doflamingo's cape or whatever, they don't really have that much reason to switch off it. Hell, they can have Crocodile's cape, And to this day, like they would be perfectly fine with only using that. Like they can have only Kraken armor, Kraken All's cape, like update 6 items basically, and they'll be perfectly good in update 9. Like there would be no downside of them using those items. Like it doesn't really make sense to me how like the game keeps, like, it takes forever to update, but like the power level you increase at hasn't gotten that much higher. Like PvP wise, it's definitely gotten higher, like way higher. But PvE wise, like you don't get that much stronger over like every update. Like you barely get stronger every update, and it just doesn't feel good. Like you play this game, you sit there and you grind and all that, and you're just not getting stronger. Like it's supposed to be like, you know, a One Piece game, an anime game. You know, you want to feel like you're getting stronger, getting, you know, you're using things and it's actually helping you, rather than just like, oh, I'm using this because I'm bored of this other thing. Like, no, it should be, I'm using this because it's the better option, or it's a more viable option for this scenario. Like, for example, there's some bosses in this game, like, for example, Krampus. Krampus is not that great of a boss to fight with a fruit. You can, but it's better to M1 him. That's a boss I like. Like, you know, you can't just sit there and just spam moves all day because he's going to block majority of it. I've tried it. Like, it's possible, but it's definitely the way worse option than just straight up M1ing him, right? There needs to be more stuff in the game like that. More boss variety, more NPC variety. And FOU just needs to stop focusing so much on release fruit, release like, you know, PvE content, and then that's it. Like, that's not an update, my guy. Like, that's not good enough. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not good enough. Like, waiting 6-7 months for 2 fruits and a couple weapons that are most likely going to be worse than previous weapons anyway. So it doesn't even matter. This update, I will say, the weapons in this update are definitely better than past updates. But the fruits, I do not care about. I don't care about Buddha at all. I literally could care less about Buddha. Last update, I don't care about Ope. I literally don't care about Ope at all. Like, Venom is cool. I'll take Venom. But would I take Venom over Pika? Probably not. Like, I might eat Venom on my main account just because. But like, if I only had one account, I'm not switching off Pika. Like, yeah, it would take, like I'm saying, it would take a very broken fruit for me to switch off Pika. Like, the fruit would literally completely destroy the balance of the game. Like, that's how good I think Pika is overall. And this is just really a problem with, you know what I'm saying? Like, this has just been a long-standing problem for PvE. Like, fruit chasing. The gear has just slightly been getting better. You know, the content, like the interactive part of the content where you're actually fighting and you're doing the bosses, have been getting better over time. Like, I will give him credit for that. Like, FOU has been trying to make different ways to fight bosses. Like, you know, he did on, I can't remember the island, but where Moria is, he made it so that you have to fight the 2 bosses, then you can fight Moria. And Moria is not just the traditional ragdoll boss. You have to actually fight him. He doesn't get ragdolled. And then he tried Doflamingo, you know, the island where everyone can interact with it, you know. Everyone can fight Doflamingo. And it's a complete safe area, you know, no fighting, just focus on the boss. And then now Impel Down. Like, he's trying to add different ways to make, you know, farming and playing the game different. But like, it's not going to change if the only thing I'm going after is fruits. Like, you can make all the unique bosses you want, but the only thing I'm going after is fruits. And I don't care about, like, you don't get bounty from bosses, so I'm not gonna grind bosses, you know, for you know what I'm saying, trying to get ace, because I literally can't. I might be more interested in ace if I can, you know, fight bosses, but then that would just diminish bounty overall, because bounty is supposed to be something that, like, you know, whoever has the top bounty, like, he's a threat, like, that's supposed to be a threat in the game. But it's just like, you can just shit farm. Like, yeah, it's gonna take you forever, but you can just shit farm for it. Does it really matter who has the highest bounty? Like, is it someone who's actually really good at PvP, or is it someone who just sat there and just, you know, spam 2 moves on some boats? And lastly, of course, you know, regarding fruits, I know I've talked about fruits like over and over again. Regarding fruits, I think one of the main problems is that since he's focusing so hard on fruits, you know, being the end game, end all be all, he's made it so the one thing that the game had, which was like fruit rarity, being super difficult to get fruits, is super easy to get. Like, fruits now compared to back then, I'm not saying I want it to go back to how it was back then, because when I first played GPO, I'm not gonna lie to you, I quit the game, like, I think twice, because it was just so hard to get a fruit. Like, it was way too hard. The only thing you can do was shit farm or just wait for a devil fruit notifier. That was it. That was the only two ways. And then he introduced dungeons. That was a little better, but like back at the beginning of when it was only ship farming and notifier, that was terrible. Like I don't want to go back to that, because it took me, like, me and my friend, we used to, you know, sit there and notifier. It took us 2 weeks for both of us to just get buried. Now mind you, I won't lie to you, when I got that berry, I was like the happiest kid ever. Like I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, finally, like this is something, like this is a fruit. And it made grinding way easier, 10 times easier. Like I was definitely playing the game more when I got buried. But I don't want to go back to that hyper extreme where it's taking you 2 weeks just to get one rare fruit. Like that's way too extreme. But I also think the current way we get fruits, all the ways we get fruits, I think it's too much. Because right now, if you really like play decently, like you don't even have to play like super hard, just play decently, you can get a legendary within like an hour easily. I should say, like, if you're max level, of course, if you're max level. But like it will only take you about like an hour to get a legendary fruit. Like it's not gonna take you that long to get a legendary nowadays. Like there's so many ways. You have BR, Kraken farming, CB farming, shit farming, impel down. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just so much ways to get fruits now. Oh, factory, Coliseum. Like there's so much ways to get those legendary fruits that like it doesn't matter what you want. You're probably gonna get it anyway. Like eventually you're gonna get it. Like I've dropped so many fruits in Trade Hub. Like there's so much fruits I've dropped in Trade Hub. It's not even funny. Like I don't care anymore. I don't care about the fruits anymore. I literally don't. And the fact that Toei, like I said, is focusing so hard on fruits when he just made the market so saturated, it doesn't make any sense. Like it's a reverse problem. You're gonna make the market saturated, but then you're also gonna make it so that fruits is the main part of the update. Like, does that even make any type of sense? Like at all? Like I don't understand. Like I don't get it. Maybe I don't know what he can do. Like I'm gonna be honest, I'm saying all this, but I really don't know what he could add to make it so that PvE has more of an incentive to actually like play it after you've gotten all the gear, and you know, obviously you have the fruit you want already. Like there's really, he added collectibles, of course, you know, like Jester Fit and all that, but like I don't care about that. Like it's things that I just don't care about. Like he needs to make it so that we're getting stronger. Like I put it simply, he just needs to make it so that I feel that I need to get the next set of items. Like I need it. Like I don't want to make the past set completely utterly useless, but like if that's what it takes for me to care about the new items, then so be it. Like I just make me get stronger. Like make it so that I actually feel like there's a reason I need to get these new items, get these new fruits. Like give me something other than just sitting there and just be like, oh yeah, you know, I got the new cape, I'm done. I don't need to play this update anymore. Or, you know, I played it 1 or 2. Actually, you don't even need to get an item. I played Transylvania and I got the spear and I'm done. I mean, I want ball outfit, but that's because it just looks cool. But if I don't get it, I don't care. Like I'm not like, oh man, I really need to get ball outfit. Like I'm gonna trade for it. I'm gonna sit there. Like, no, I'm not doing all that. Like I don't care that much. I just don't care that much about it. Like I don't know how he's gonna change, like how he could change endgame. Like I don't know if he can make it fashion or make it so that the collectibles are more interesting or something. Like he even added titles. I don't care. Like there's so much things he's like tried to add, and it's just like I don't care. Like the meaningful part of the game, the part where we're actually damaging bosses. The bosses are, you know, doing stuff to us, and I'm doing stuff to them. I don't feel like I've really progressed that far from like update 5. Like I really haven't. I feel like I'm the same power level as update 5. The only thing that's really increased is like my health. I can live a little longer. That's about it. So I don't know. Let me know y'all thoughts below in the comment section. Like these are my thoughts on PvE. Like I said, I couldn't put PvP in here. There's no way. This video would be like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So let me know y'all what y'all think should change with PvE. I'll see y'all in the next video.